am creating a short, hopefully this will be short, screencast to review topic 3 repetition. Now, many, and I mean many, of the labs submitted for topic 3 were unsubmitted, and largely for the same reason, namely, not enough use of while loops. Still a lot of hard coding going on. And I'll explain what I mean by hard coding in a minute. Now, when you approach any of the labs, the first thing you should do is read the objectives carefully. What is the point of doing this lab? What's the objective? Well, in this case, this is 3a.Celebrate. This is the one where you're planting the flowers around the island, like so. Most of you have done this, but many people had to resubmit. So let's get this cleared up once and for all. So the objective here is learn how to use repetition to reduce duplicate code. This is the key right there. We want to minimize duplicate code. That's naughty. If you see that you have a lot of duplicate code, that's a problem. Why is it a problem? Because it means, one, you have too much code. Two, if there's a bug in your code and then you duplicate that code many times, now you've got many bugs. And it's just harder to maintain. It's harder to read because it's so lengthy. So we can do repetition using a while loop. This is no different than what you did in Scratch last year, those of you that took Scratch. Now the next point of the next objective is to use custom method calls to share code among the JRUs. So we can write the code once, and if we have more than one JRU, all the JRUs can use the same code. That's the point of custom methods. Again, that also helps reduce duplicate code. So the moral of the story is if you find yourself using repetitive code, then you need to stop, pull back, and think about how to improve the code with the while loop. Now specifically, the reason many submissions were submitted was because there was some use of while loops, but not enough. So the objective here is to march this JRU across the edge of the island planting flowers, and then plant flowers in the corner and carry on. Now you should distinguish between an edge and a corner. Now why are we talking about edges and corners? Because down here you've been asked to create these three methods in your solution. One is for planting a side. I said edge. Okay, it's a side. You want to plant a side, you want to plant a corner, and then you want to decorate the entire lake. Now this method is going to use these two methods. So we have to distinguish between sides and corners. So if you look over here, go back over here and zoom in again, the edge extends, well, from this, in the case of the top edge, from this square all the way over to that one, not to the corner. The corner is not part of the edge and has to be handled differently. So we have 4 edges. This is edge 1 to here. This is corner 1. This is edge 2, extends down to here, and there's corner 2, and so on. So let's come down to here. Now it says you have to create these 3 methods. So you should use these names, use camel case. Notice the way they're the casing on these 3 names. So they all begin with lowercase, and if there's more than one word, everything after the first word is capitalized. Now this plant side, it says, again, it uses a while loop to plant flowers along one side of the lake. The plant corner is going to move the JRU around the corner of the lake to the next side, and it will also plant the flower in the corner. So what does that mean? When the JRU is finished planting this edge, it's over here at the corner spot. So it has to plant a flower there, turn, and then get to the beginning of the next edge. That's what we mean by cornering. So you don't have to write a while loop in here. It's a very simple task. But the decorate lake, and this is where a lot of people came up short, also uses a while loop. So don't hard code this. Don't call this guy 4 times and call this guy 4 times. Yeah, this is a square lake and it's kind of clear that I only need to do it 4 times. What if this lake is not square? What if it's a hexagon? What if it's a pentagon? What if you don't know how many edges are on the lake? That's why you need to start using while loops to make your code more generalized. If I change the dimensions of this lake, your hard-coded solution is not going to work. So it says use a while loop to plant the flowers around the whole lake. This method will call plant side and plant corner until it's done. So it keeps calling these two guys until it's finished, and we already talked about how do I know when I'm finished? Well, when there's a flower in front of me. I think that's the ending condition. So let's go over to the solution. And so here we have the main method. Now, what this doesn't include is, and what you should include is the name of the lab. This is 3a, what is it called? Decorate? Decorate. I think is that right, guys, girls? Let me just double check. Oh dear. It's called, yeah, oh, okay, it's called Celebrate, not Decorate. Okay, so this is called Celebrate. Please do this, and you could also include Celebrate. You could also include your name, like so. Now you don't have to, maybe don't put it in parentheses, just do something like that. Now, here we have the main method, and note there's the name of the method, the main keyword. These two parentheses are always required when you create a method. That is the parameter list. Most of the functions that you'll see, most of the methods you see in the library do not have any parameters. Now this, you can see there were arguments here being passed to this JRU. This is really a constructor, but we're not going to get into details of constructors. But the hop method can take a argument, and it would go in between these parentheses. So in this case, the argument list is empty. For line 3 and line 8, those are using curly braces, and they indicate the beginning and end of a block. So you have the method header on line 2, and you have a block that extends from 3 to 8. So all methods contain a header and a block. Inside the block are statements, and all statements should be indented like so. In this case, 4 spaces. All statements end with a semicolon like so. Now notice there's no semicolon here because this is not exactly a statement. It's a control structure. It's controlling this block of code. Okay, so if we step this, we can see that the JRU gets into position correctly. Now let's stop it. Let's go look at, let's start with plant side. So note it's using a while loop, and it simply has to plant and hop along this edge. Now, what is the ending condition for that? Well, it's not really the ending condition, it's a condition that as long as the condition is true, it will keep planting along the edge. And that condition is as long as there's water on the right side of the JRU, it should keep going. That's what this says here. While there's water on the right, plant and hop. Keep doing that until there isn't water on the right, which occurs here. That's the corner. Note there's no water on the right, so the loop will stop. Let's look at the plant corner. So now after planting an edge, the JRU is here, and what should it do? Well, as you can see over here, it should plant a flower, turn right, and then hop. Get off the corner, and then onto the first square of the next edge. Okay, so those are fairly straightforward. Now, it's this decorate lake that incorporates the ending condition. So so it's using a slightly different ending condition than what I said. So as long as it's clear in front of the JRU, it should keep planting sides and planting corners. So if we recall, if we step again, at this point it's clear in front of the JRU, so it should begin. And it's going to keep going as long as it's clear. Forget about how many times you have to call plant side and plant corner. Just keep going until it's not clear. Let's come back over here. So, yeah. So if we run that, you can see it plants all flowers. And let's back it up again. Let's slow it down a bit and take a closer look at that. So now it's running. That's a bit too slow. Let's do that. And we're going to pause it when it gets close to the end. Okay, now right there, where is it? Let's do a step. Yeah, it's still in here. It's still planting the side. Now it's already off the edge. It's at the corner. So this loop should finish. If I do a step, notice it left the plant side and it came back to Decorate Lake. So Decorate Lake called plant side. It finished on that fourth side. And now it's getting ready to plant the final corner. So now if we come over here and step, now we're down here in the plant corner method. We're going to do the plant. Now you can see there's a flower under the J-Rue. We're going to do the turn right. Now he's going to hop, and that's okay. There's no harm in hopping onto the next flower. So we do the hop, and now where do we go? We continue. Now that should have taken us back to, back to Decorate Lake, which is over here. Right. So now we're at the top of this while loop. We finished planting the last edge or side, and we finished planting the last corner. Now this should exit the loop because it's no longer clear ahead. If I step, boom, it takes me back to the main method, and then it's going to end the program. If I do that, now the program, you can see down here, program complete. So guys, this is how you should be thinking about these labs going forward. I hope this helps and answers any questions. Please follow the instructions where it tells you to use a while loop. Please use a while loop. Thank you. Bye.